Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Leap podcast. I'm Julia, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Kareem.
Hey there, listeners. Today's episode is a big one. We're diving into a topic that affects all of us, social media. The title of today's episode says it all, How Social Media Can Destroy Your Life. We'll explore why these platforms are so addictive and how they impact us in ways we don't even realize.
That's right. We'll be looking at everything from why it's so hard to stop scrolling to how social media affects our self-esteem and mental health. So if you've ever found yourself glued to your phone or feeling down after scrolling through Instagram, this episode is for you.
Julia, let's get real for a second. Have you ever opened your phone just to check one thing, and then suddenly an hour goes by, and you're deep into some random video like learning how to make pottery?
Oh, absolutely. I go in to check one notification, and next thing I know, I'm watching baby goats jumping around. Where does the time go? Social media has this magical power to make us lose track of time.
I can't even count the number of times I've told myself, I'll just be a minute, only to end up watching videos of people organizing their closets. And trust me, my closet looks nothing like that, but I still watch. It's seriously addictive.
And it's not just a feeling. Science actually explains why this happens. Social media apps are designed to keep us coming back for more. It's all about those little dopamine hits we get every time we see something we like or get a new notification.
Exactly. For those who don't know, dopamine is the feel-good chemical in our brain. It's what makes us feel happy, excited, or even motivated. It's the same chemical released when we eat chocolate, win a game, or laugh at a good joke. So every time we get a notification, our brain says, "Ooh, that felt good. Let's do it again."
And the more we get that feeling, the more we crave it. It's a bit like a video game. Every like or comment is a tiny reward that keeps us playing, and before we know it, we're hooked. It's wild, right?
It's crazy because we're not even playing a game or eating chocolate. We're just scrolling, but our brains can't tell the difference. All they know is that they want that next dopamine hit.
That's exactly what makes it so hard to put our phones down. We get trapped in a cycle of constantly checking for those little rewards, even when we know we should probably stop.
Before we dive deeper into the topic, though, we've got a special treat for you all. If you want to follow along or review the key points from this episode, we have a free PDF packed with useful phrases, vocabulary, and important notes. Just check the description for the download link.
It's perfect for anyone who likes to take notes or wants to refresh what we've discussed today. So let's get back into it. There's a lot to cover. Let's start by talking about why social media is so addictive. We mentioned dopamine, but there's more to it. It's also about instant gratification, that feeling of getting something right away with little effort.
Exactly. Think about it. You post a photo, and within seconds, you might already have likes or comments. And let's be honest, that instant feedback feels great. You don't have to wait or work hard to feel appreciated. It's like post a photo, get a like, feel happy. It's simple, right?
But here's the thing, it's also kind of dangerous.
Yeah, because it teaches our brains to crave those quick rewards. It's a bit like eating junk food. It's tasty in the moment, but it's not actually good for us. Over time, we start depending on social media for that instant happiness. And here's the scary part. It makes other things in life seem slow or boring, like waiting in line or reading a book. Those things don't give us that instant hit of dopamine, so our brain is like, this isn't fun.
Exactly. It really changes the way we look at other activities. We start to think that if something isn't fast or instantly rewarding, it's not worth our time. And that can mess with our patience and focus.
Speaking of focus, social media can seriously mess with our attention span. Have you noticed how short videos are getting shorter? First, YouTube had long videos, then Instagram came with shorter ones. And now TikTok has these quick 10-second looping videos.
Yes, and our brains get used to that fast pace. We go from one video to the next, and suddenly, watching a 30-minute documentary feels like running a marathon.
So true. I've tried reading a book before, and my brain is like, come on, where's the action? Where's the excitement? It's like we've trained ourselves to need constant entertainment.
And that's not good for things like studying, working, or even just enjoying quiet moments. Our attention spans get shorter, and our ability to focus on one thing for a long time decreases. It's as if social media has rewired our brains to be impatient.
Exactly, and when we can't focus, it affects our productivity, learning, and even our relationships. Real-life conversations can feel slow or boring because we're used to that rapid pace.
Let's talk now about the comparison trap. Social media is full of perfect pictures, vacations, fancy food, happy families. And even though we know it's not the whole picture, it's hard not to compare ourselves.
Yeah, you see someone's beach photo, and suddenly your own life feels kind of dull. You start asking yourself, why am I not doing that? Why don't I have that? And it's even worse because people usually only post the best parts of their lives. We don't see the struggles, the boring days, or the challenges. So we end up comparing our entire life to someone else's highlight reel.
It's like watching a movie trailer, all the exciting parts, but none of the behind the scenes work. And when we compare ourselves, it's easy to feel like we're falling behind.
Exactly, and that can lead to feelings of jealousy, sadness, and even depression. We start thinking everyone else's life is better, but really we're just seeing the surface.
And then there's the impact on our relationships. Have you noticed how people will be sitting together, but everyone's on their phone? It's like we're together, but not really together.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but also kind of sad. We're so busy checking in on people who aren't there that we miss the people who are.
Studies have shown that constantly being on our phones can actually make us feel more isolated. We're connected to hundreds of people online, but we forget to build strong real-life connections.
And over time, that can lead to feelings of loneliness, even when we're surrounded by others. Social media tricks us into thinking we're connected, but it's not the same as face-to-face interaction.
Finally, let's talk about the mental health effects. Spending hours on social media has been linked to anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem, especially when we're constantly comparing ourselves to others.
Yes, when we rely on social media for validation, it can really mess with our sense of self-worth. We start to think that if we don't get enough likes or comments, we're not good enough. It's like our value is based on numbers instead of who we really are.
And it's easy to fall into that mindset. One day you get tons of likes and you feel amazing, but the next day, not as much, and suddenly you're questioning yourself.
Exactly. And over time, that can lead to bigger issues, like anxiety or depression, because we're relying on external factors to feel good about ourselves. It's a dangerous cycle.
That was a pretty deep dive into the effects of social media. It really gives us a lot to think about.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening who want to better understand the vocabulary we covered, we've got you covered with a vocabulary breakdown.